Welcome to the Nocturne Gallery. Tonight we're looking at Vincent van Gogh. I mean, probably one of the most famous, most influential artists ever. Maybe one of the most misunderstood, too.
Definitely famous. His work is everywhere, instantly recognizable.
Right, those blazing yellows, the swirling skies, that intense brushwork. But it's easy to forget how short his actual art career was.
Just 10 years, that's it, starting around 1880.
So what we want to explore is that transformation. How did this searching, almost lost person become such a monumental artist so fast?
Well, the lead-up is pretty wild, actually. Before he hit 27, he was really adrift. Tried being a bookseller.
Right, worked for an art dealer too, didn't he?
Yep. And then, quite dramatically, he became a preacher, a missionary down in Borinage, that very poor Belgian mining district.
And that didn't end well. He saw the miners' poverty and got, well, maybe a bit carried away.
You could say that. The church called it excessive zeal. He was giving away his clothes, his money, living like they did, basically like a vagrant.
So they fired him.
They did, in 1879. He said it was the saddest time of his life. But that failure, that crisis, that was the spark. It didn't kill his desire to help people. It just redirected it.
Towards art, towards serving people through paint instead of sermons.
Exactly.
So that brings us to his core idea, his philosophy. He wasn't about art for art's sake, was he?
No, not at all. He rejected that completely. His motto, you could say, was, "Nothing is more genuinely artistic than loving people."
And you really see that in his early stuff back in the Netherlands.
Oh, definitely. In New Enen, The Hague, he was laser focused on peasants, workers. He wanted to paint people who had, as he put it, honestly earned their food.
Which leads us to The Potato Eaters from 1885, his first big statement piece.
It really was, meant to show his skill, but also that whole creed.
It's such a powerful painting. But people hated it at the time, right? Why was that?
Because it's rough. It's deliberately unrefined. He used these dark, muddy, earthy colors. Even mixed some bitumen, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, he wanted those figures to look like they were literally made of the earth they worked. It wasn't supposed to be pretty. It was about honesty, the hardship of their lives.
But even then, there was this personal isolation starting to show. His relationship in The Hague with Sian Kristen Hornick.
Right, the street woman. That caused a huge rift with his family. It's quite sad. Later, he even refused his inheritance money, felt he didn't deserve it.
That isolation, though, maybe it fueled his empathy for people on the fringes.
I think it must have. You feel it in the darkness of those Dutch paintings. Intense dedication, but also loneliness.
Okay, so fast forward to 1886. This serious, intense, earthy painter lands in Paris. Big change.
Huge, a massive shift. He moves in with his brother Theo, and suddenly, boom, his output explodes. We're talking 200 paintings, 50 drawings in just 2 years.
Incredible productivity. How?
Well, partly necessity, actually. Money was tight, really tight. He just couldn't afford to hire models consistently.
Ah, the practical constraints. So that's where all the still lifes come from. The flowers.
Exactly. 85 still lifes, mostly flowers, and famously, the self-portraits. At least 27 of them in just those 2 Paris years.
So his own face became his go-to subject of laboratory.
Precisely. Cheap, always available. He could experiment, practice all the new techniques he was seeing, absorbing everything happening in Paris.
And he was soaking it all up, right? Impressionism, but also pointillism, or divisionism, as some called it.
Yeah, he definitely studied it. Pointillism, with the little dots of pure color that your eye mixes. Very scientific, very controlled. Signac was a big proponent.
But Van Gogh didn't stick with it for long.
No, not really. He took the core idea, bright, pure color, which really lit up his palette compared to the Dutch years. But the strict rules, the tiny dots, that wasn't him. He needed more freedom, more emotion.
So he ditched the dots.
Pretty quickly, he replaced them with those energetic brushstrokes we know so well. Short, long, thick, thin, full of feeling. It became less about just seeing, more about expressing the soul of the subject.
He wasn't after photographic accuracy.
Not at all. He felt true painting needed exaggeration, needed the artist to boldly exaggerate effects to get the feeling across.
And that desire for feeling, for pure color, that leads him south, right? Out of Paris.
Down to Arles in 1888. Seeking sunshine, warmth, intense light.
And also Japan.
Absolutely. He was completely fascinated by Japanese ukiyo-e woodblock prints, collected them avidly. He saw them as this ideal, simple, joyful, harmonious art. He even called Provence a country as beautiful as Japan.
And you can see that influence, can't you? The flatter color sometimes, the bold outlines, the way he cropped figures.
Definitely. Compositionally, it had a huge impact. But Arles wasn't just about light in Japan, it was about connection.
A yellow house.
The yellow house. He rented it and poured everything into this dream of an artist's community, a brotherhood.
And Paul Gauguin actually came, October 1888. The dream, for a moment, seemed real.
For a moment, a very intense, very brief moment. It only lasted 2 months before. Well, before the breakdown.
Yeah. The dream collapsing seems like a major trigger for what happened next.
It seems so. The pressure, the intensity, maybe the clash of personalities, it all imploded. Culminating in that awful incident on December 23rd, 1888.
The ear.
The infamous story. Cutting off part of his left ear, or earlobe, the accounts vary slightly, and giving it to a woman named Rachel. It's a shocking act, highlighting the depth of the crisis after that dream of community just shattered.
But even amidst that turmoil, the Arles period produced some absolutely iconic work. The color is just electric.
Oh, undeniably. Think of the Sunflower series. Gauguin apparently loved them.
Right. And the bedroom. He specifically talked about using color there for psychological effect, didn't he?
He did. He said the strong blues and yellows were meant to be restful, to soothe the brain and imagination, using color as therapy almost.
And after Gauguin left, Gauguin's chair, that empty chair.
Such a poignant painting, capturing that absence, that loss, painting his empty place, as Vincent put it.
So after the breakdown in Arles, he recognized he needed help.
Yes, he voluntarily admitted himself to the asylum in Saint-Rémy de Provence in 1889.
And credibly, even there confined, his output was still immense.
Astonishing. Around 150 canvases in a year. Being confined shifted his focus, though. He couldn't always paint from direct observation.
So he painted from memory, imagination.
A lot more, yes. Views from his window, the asylum gardens, olive groves, cypress trees. This is where you see that intense swirling energy really take over. Starry Night comes from this period.
That incredible energy, the movement. It feels like it mirrors his mental state.
It certainly seems to reflect an intense inner world. That feverish work rate continued right up to the end. He left the asylum, moved to Auvers near Paris, under the care of a Dr. Gachet.
Another doctor sympathetic to artists.
Yes, but tragically, it wasn't enough. In July 1890, he shot himself. Died 2 days later, aged 37, with Theo beside him.
It's just staggering to think that this artist, now globally revered, sold almost nothing during his life.
Practically nothing. He had just one positive article written about him while he was alive, by Albert Aurier, early in 1890.
Which brings us to the person who really saved his legacy.
Yeah.
Not Vincent, not even Theo in the end.
No, it was Theo's wife, Johanna van Gogh-Bonger. Theo died only 6 months after Vincent, leaving her with a baby and hundreds of paintings and letters.
An overwhelming inheritance.
And she dedicated her life to it. She recognized the genius, refused to sell things off cheaply. She organized exhibitions, carefully managed the collection.
And crucially, she understood the letters were key.
Absolutely. Publishing his letters, hundreds of them, mostly to Theo, in 1914, that was monumental. It revealed the man behind the myth, intelligent, articulate, passionate, deeply thoughtful. It cemented his place in history.
Her work basically ensured his art would have its massive impact.
No doubt. His style, that expressive brushwork, the pure subjective color, it was like fuel for the next generation. A combustible mixture, someone called it.
Directly influencing movements like Fauvism.
Matisse, Vlaminck, definitely. And German Expressionism, even elements of Art Nouveau, that rhythmic quality in his lines. His impact was huge.
But alongside that artistic legacy, there's the constant debate about his sanity. The mad geniuses trope.
It's persistent, but it's not the only view. You have to consider people like Antonin Artaud, the writer and critic.
What was his take?
Artaud wrote this incredibly passionate piece in 1947, arguing Van Gogh wasn't mad at all. He claimed Vincent possessed unsurpassed sanity, a lucidity that society couldn't handle.
So Artaud blamed society.
Essentially, yes. He argued society, armed with psychiatry, drove him to suicide because his vision was too powerful, too truthful. It's a strong counter-narrative.
It's a vital perspective to include. So here we are today, Van Gogh. Tragic life, posthumous global fame, paintings breaking records. What was Sunflowers? $40 million back in 87.
Something like that, yeah.
Astronomical prices.
Yet, that core message, forged in that intense 10-year burst,
Yeah.
maybe we still haven't fully grasped it.
I think that's true. There's still an ambiguity, isn't there? And maybe that's why he remains so compelling, that sense that there's more to understand.
So, a final thought for you listening. Van Gogh himself wrote that for him, books, art, reality, they were one and the same thing. His goal was, in a way, to love people through his art. So maybe think about this. Which part of his work, which painting, or even which period, feels most like he's speaking directly to you?
Where does that connection feel strongest?
Exactly. And maybe dip into those letters Johanna preserved. They really are the key to seeing how he tried to weave everything together.